Welcome back, everybody, to the D.O.G podcast. My name is Drew. I'm with German as usual, and today we brought back my cousin Nick.
Yo, what's up?
What's going on, man?
Not much. Just chilling, trying to stay cool.
Trying to stay cool in this 110-degree weather. Good
It's
thing.
torture.
Good thing there's not a World Cup going on at this time, right?
Yeah,
In the
could you
desert.
imagine? Could you imagine?
It'd be crazy.
So now that you're back on the show, Nick, and let's go ahead. Let's talk Man United. I know earlier, was it like 2 months ago that you were with us, and we talked about some of the transfers that we wanted to see.
Yeah,
So far, we have three transfers or three key signings that are
three. Yeah.
100% done deal. You want to help me out on the first one? I can't pronounce his name. The
So
left back.
it's Tyrell Malacia.
There you go.
Yeah.
Left back out of the Dutch league. What do you think about that signing? Even though we had already two players, Luke Shaw and Alex Telles, manning that position.
I think it's good. I think the
Mm-hmm.
squad needs competition.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Luke Shaw's he's had his ups and downs. He's been there about 8 seasons already, and
Mm-hmm.
he's you don't know what Luke Shaw you're going to get. Alex Telles is just he's a good hustler, he
Yeah.
just doesn't have the skill, going forward.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes defensively he gets caught in no man's land. So
Yeah.
I think, maybe out of the two, Telles might be on the chopping block, he might not fit Ten Hag's system, or it just you you're not going to have three left backs on the
Right.
squad. I think one of them is going. Um,
And that's what I figured. That's what I kind of found interesting. I was going to ask you, like, who was the guy that you felt like they were going to push out? And obviously, you think it's Alex Telles.
yeah,
I was actually thinking maybe Luke Shaw might kind of want to change an environment, especially there in the
yeah.
Premier League. Do you
It,
think maybe he's one of the options to be left out?
I don't think so. The three preseason games that Manchester United have had,
Mm-hmm.
Alex Telles has been playing left center back, and he's not a center back. He's a left back, and
Yeah.
you could see the difference in talent. He just doesn't have it.
Mm-hmm.
Luke Shaw, if we could get him back to Luke Shaw of the Euros, the last Euros,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a good 1-2 combination. Luke Shaw and Malacia.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I think Telles is the weakest link out of those
Right.
three. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. The only reason I thought maybe Luke Shaw maybe be on the chopping block was because I think maybe he's the one that you can get the most value out of. Because I feel like you're gonna if you're gonna bring players in, you kind of have to start getting players out. Which we've
Right.
had players leave on free transfers, with
Mm-hmm.
Pogba and Lingard both leaving for free. So there's not a whole lot of money coming in. I was thinking maybe that was another option where you can actually put him for sale and still get a good value for him because of what you just said. It's his performance at the Euros, because that Luke Shaw
Right.
still exists. And I feel like there's a team out there who can benefit from having a guy like that, even if it is United. The next transfer, I thought, I mean, not necessarily a transfer, but a signing with Christian Erickson. What do you think about that, man?
Um, we lost Pogba, like you said. We lost Lingard. We lost Matic, and we lost Juan Mata. So
Yeah,
it's four guys out of the midfield.
living for
And
free too.
right, for free. So Erickson on a free transfer, I think, just gives us that depth. He's got the
Mm-hmm.
experience, and he's probably one of the best set piece takers in the Premier League.
Yeah.
So I think he brings the experience. He also brings that veteran leadership that we kind of need. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, this guy has the dedication to play football. He's
Mm-hmm.
got the passion. I mean,
Right.
last summer
Was
we didn't think
dead.
he was ever going to play again. Literally,
when
you
he
He was
know,
when he
dead.
collapsed on the field, I remember everybody
right,
was watching, and it was such a heartbreaking moment when
right,
that happened. And then for him to bounce back the way he did, because he went to Brentford over on a loan because he couldn't play in Italy, because I guess the rules in Italy say you can't play with what he had a pacemaker, right?
right, right.
And so he couldn't play there. goes to Brentford, and actually he has almost like a revival for his career, like something that a lot of people weren't expecting for him to do. And then now all of a sudden he signs a huge contract with Manchester United, one of the biggest
Yeah,
clubs in the world.
yeah, and the performances when he was with Brentford, I mean, they were Tottenham like Christian Erickson performances.
Right.
And you could honestly say that he might have single-handedly had a hand in Brentford staying up because of his
Right.
performances. So I think it's a good signing for us to have that depth and have that have that squad rotation that we're going to need. He's an attack-minded player. Watching the preseason games, it looks like Ten Hag ball is very fluid in the attack. It's very aggressive in the attack. So I think he's going to fit in. I think he's definitely going to fit in. And it's not really a commercial signing. He's a big name, but he's not like a Paul Pogba where it's, a very commercial signing like a Lukaku or, Zlatan. So I think it's a good fit. Hopefully we get to see him play pretty soon.
And I don't want a lot of people to forget, but he did train with Ajax there when he did come back from his injury or from his illness or whatever it was, and then build, I guess, a good relationship over there with Ten Hag, and that's where he started his career. Right, was for Ajax, right?
Right, correct.
And so when it comes to that Ten Hag ball or the Ten Hag attacking system, he does fit perfectly. Even though he's probably not going to be the main focus because him and Bruno Fernandes play the same position, but I can see him coming in as, like you said, like a leadership role and actually just translating, almost like being the coach on the field, if that makes any sense. And then actually
definitely
leading those younger guys to help develop that system.
I also think that he's going to help Fred a lot. If we don't sign a holding midfielder, Fred is probably going to be that guy. And I think Erickson sitting next to Fred, I think will definitely help alleviate a lot of the defensive pressures on Fred.
And the next signing, Lesandro Martinez, the defender from Ajax, Argentinian defender. He can play just about anywhere. They could put him at the left back, center back position, holding midfielder, just like you said. What do you think about the signing?
It's funny because I went back and watched the last time I was on the podcast, and I said we need to sign some no-name kid from Argentina, throwing that out there. And then we signed a no-name kid from Argentina.
Nice.
I haven't seen him play a lot. I've watched a lot of film on him since our signing. And yeah, like you said, he's a ball playing center back. What a lot of people have been saying is he's only 5'9", so he might get eaten in the Premier League. But watching him play in the Champions League against Haaland and some of those other big strikers, he can hold his own. Ten Hag has said about him that he's very ferocious, he's very aggressive, and he has a lot of passion. So that's what we need. We need people to run for the shirt, people to get into tackles, who's not, scared of the ball and being able to play out of the back and break lines. So I think it's a good signing for us.
Now, do you think he's kind of brought in as a young developing player? He's a young prospect. He's not going to come in and get minutes right away. But where do you see him playing the most? Because we have Varane, we have Maguire, Lindelof in the back. We have, I wouldn't say a good midfielder, but we got some healthy players there in that position. And of course, we have already signed another defender. Where do you see him playing the most?
Yeah, Ten Hag has already said that he's coming in straight away and he's going to start as center back. And he'll be a left-footed left center back. In the preseason matches, Harry Maguire has moved over to the right, and Varane and Bailly have been on the bench. I know it's been a fitness thing. Varane is coming back from a knock, and who knows how healthy Bailly will be during the season. But I do see Lesandro and Maguire partnership to start, and then maybe Lindelof and Varane would be the second partnership. You definitely need 4 center backs. If you're going to compete for titles or cups, the best teams do. City has good core center backs. Liverpool, is not always Van Dijk. Every game. So and the competition is healthy for the team.
Mm-hmm.
We need to have competition. We don't want our guys to be complacent.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to have to rely on Harry Maguire all the time.
Yeah, and maybe Harry Maguire moving over to the right as a right-footed center back, maybe he does better.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of being a right-footed left back, maybe he's able to play out a little bit more and retain the possession when we need him to.
Mm-hmm. Well, I feel like I think you said it before, where it was just like you kind of have to have a partnership where there's like one guy, he's like the more passive guy, kind of like a sweeper,
Right.
last man, and then you have another one who's a wrecking ball who can go in and actually win tackles. And I feel like that's kind of the pairing we have. Like before, when it
Right.
was Varane and Maguire, we kind of had the same style, right? It was like the same, a little bit more passive, more like a sweeper. And then now with Martinez coming in, it looks like he's going to play that wrecking ball position, right? Like he's going to be that Tasmanian devil that we've kind of been lacking, almost kind of what we had with Vidic when that pairship. So that's going to be interesting. The next signing, potential signing, is the one that you talked about. Also, I don't know if you remember, you brought that up, was Frankie De Jong. And it almost looked like the deal was done, and then it looked like the deal was completely out of the water. Like they said, okay, he's not going to go over, and then now it's kind of like Barcelona is kind of just starting to cave in little by little, and it looks like we're getting closer and closer to that deal. Do you think it'll go through, or do you think it'll fall through?
I think it will go through, but I think it's going to be a transfer day deadline deal. And Barcelona has agreed already to the fee.
Right.
What is stalling the deal is that Barcelona owes Frankie 20 million in back pay. So he deferred his salary during COVID because they weren't selling tickets,
Right.
which he did the club a favor. He didn't have to do that. And when he deferred his salary, he's supposed to be paid back to the end of his contract, through the end of his contract. So he's worried that if he gets out of his contract with Barcelona, he's out on 20 million, euros.
Right.
So I think that's kind of a tough one. Hopefully, he might be able to get into arbitration court or something to get that settled. I don't think Ten Hag or United waste their time going after a player that's, said, no, there's no way I'm not coming. I think that they know something that, is not out in the media yet. But I think that he's definitely a player that we need to strengthen the midfield for sure.
For sure. And then, it'll be another pairing with Ten Hag. We saw what they were able to do the last time they were together. They made it all the way to the semis of the Champions League, where they lost in that heartbreak to Tottenham. And so we see what he's able to do. He hasn't really found his footing over in Barcelona, but he says he's happy there. He says he wants to stay. The team says that they really don't want to sell. Do you think maybe that's a negotiation tactic, even though they had already, I guess, agreed in principle terms?
Yeah, I think, last time we talked about John Murto, handling the negotiations. Everybody knows that Barcelona is in debt. They can't put the tax on Manchester United just that you're a big club, you're going to pay, overpay for players. Like, they're in desperate need of the money. And he's one of those players that they're going to get the most value out of on the transfer. And United really doesn't need to play. They could play hardball. Like, they have all the cards in their hands right now. Right. So I think, I definitely think that that we could get the deal done. It's just if Frankie wants to, risk not getting his money that he's owed, or them finding a way for him to still get paid even after he leaves.
Yeah. A little unrelated, but I saw a thing the other day where Barcelona, it's almost like in like the next 10 years they won't even exist if they continue to go with the finances that they're going in right now. They're super bad in debt. Like it's not even funny anymore.
Yeah, like after signing Lewandowski, I think they're now $1.6 billion in debt.
Right.
They had a yearly salary cap salary cap of 98 million for the year for their squad, and they're 144 million in the negative
Right.
For just their salary. So, and Oliver Kahn said it. He said, "How does Barcelona owe this much money and still sign whoever they want? Like,
right.
It doesn't make any sense." And I'm not sure how true it is, but I seen somewhere that like they can't even register these new players, Rafinha and Lewandowski in La Liga or something like that. It's crazy how people are owed money. Like Frankie is owed money, and players still want to go there. Yeah,
it's a testament to how big of a club it is, because either way they're going to make money, but it's because of the way they've spent their money and the way they've handled their finances have been completely terrible. And that's when, of course, COVID hit and every single club took a big financial hit. But a lot of these clubs are bouncing back now. Like you see Real Madrid, like they're cutting funds. They made moves to go ahead and make money. The Premier League, they had TV deals and that they were able to make money. And Barcelona just kept going backwards and backwards. And now, like you said, like their salary cap is $144 million in debt, which to me it doesn't make any sense either. But we'll see what goes with that. And then I think I remember hearing last year too that they had problems with Aguero, that they couldn't register him either, which is another contribution of why he retired. And then, the big one was Messi going to PSG, which Barcelona is just a huge mess. That can even be a whole topic in another video because of how bad they are. But let's go ahead. Let's get back onto Manchester United and let's talk about really the big news of this transfer window, and has been Ronaldo wanting to leave. Do you see him leaving, or do you want him to leave at all?
I don't think that he leaves. I don't think there's any suitors for him. Should he go? Probably. Just based on the fact that if his aspirations are to play Champions League football, I think he deserves it. I think his legacy is, he wants to continue to compete, and he's proven that even at his age that he can still perform at that level.
Right.
I don't know if there's anybody that could afford his wages, or if anybody really wants him.
And that was the thing. I know he wants to leave. I actually think the team might actually benefit from him leaving, because he kind of did put us in a little bit of a bind last season, but that's so weird saying, because he scored 25 goals for us in the year last year. That's never bad, right? When a player goes and he scores 25 goals for you. However, he kind of did ruin a little, or not necessarily ruin, but he did kind of halt the development of some of the players, particularly maybe Rashford or Sancho. Maybe I feel like those guys could have gotten better opportunities. Ollie has a lot more to do with that. But I feel like if he were to leave, especially now, I feel like the club can get some value out of him, and he would actually allow the club to go ahead and move forward. Like we just saw Darwin Nunez, the signing that we wanted to go after, score a hat trick for Liverpool earlier today in 17 minutes. Like that guy needs to be with us, right? That's a prototypical Manchester United signing. But we couldn't do that, but because we had Ronaldo, right? I do see him going. I think the one team I would see him being an actual good fit right now, and it's Bayern Munich. And if he wants to go to a big club, go to another league in Germany, kind of do what Zlatan does, and he goes to different leagues and tries to dominate, trying to prove a point. And if he wants to compete for a Champions League, what other club is better right now than Bayern Munich?
Yeah, you see that Bayern had offered him $20 million?
Oh no, I didn't. They had offered him already?
To stop contacting them because they don't want him.
No way.
No, I'm just kidding.
I was like, you're playing with me.
Yeah,
Drew like that.
No, but Bayern, Oliver Kahn had came out and said that Cristiano Ronaldo is not a Bayern Munich player. He doesn't fit their philosophy.
Yeah.
And although he is a legend in his own right, Bayern, they stick to their philosophy, and that's why they've been successful for many years. My opinion that if Ronaldo were to leave, maybe and go to a Champions League spot, it would probably be Atletico Madrid. I think they could afford him. I think he would do really good there. But it's the Atletico Madrid, Real Madrid, rivalry. Is he going to go to the rival? Because he is a Real Madrid legend. And the other destination, I think he might be a good fit. And like you said, another league would probably be like Napoli. I think Napoli would suit him well, and they could probably afford him as well. But I'm not sure. Hopefully, not an English team. If we sell him, it can't be. If he were to go to Chelsea or something, we'd score 25 goals in the year. You know what I mean? But
yeah, he already
said. Tuchel said no. We're gonna stick with Raheem Sterling instead.
Yeah, well,
that's a good signing. I mean, I know a lot of people give flack to Raheem, but I feel like he's a good signing. I feel like he can go ahead and switch things up, even though Chelsea already have a bunch of wingers, but zero defenders almost.
Yeah.
Oh, we just signed a defender, but I think Sterling's gonna be okay. I just don't like the price that we paid for him. I mean, he's getting paid more than Lewandowski's getting paid in Barcelona, supposedly getting paid in Barcelona. Who knows if he actually gets that money? But yeah, I mean, what he got like 47 million pounds. I think Lewandowski got 42 million pounds. So I think it's okay. It's just another typical Chelsea signing in the last couple of years. A guy that kind of used to be pretty good and is, I think, steadily on the decline. But
really?
I think Tuchel's like, he can work with that. I think that is okay for him. I don't think that he needs necessarily the best all-star out there, the guy that's probably one of the top players in Europe to fit in his system. He's kind of proven that in his system, he doesn't need that type of guy. He needs a handful of B players that are going to result in a championship.
Raheem Sterling's going to run. Where he makes his money is on quality service. So if Chelsea if they're wingers, or if he's making his runs in the box and he gets good service, cutbacks or whatnot, he's going to get goals. He'll get you a hell of a lot more goals than Lukaku did last year. And
that's for sure.
That's being honest.
Yeah, I mean, Lukaku's 8 goals. Ooh, shouldn't be tough to beat.
So it's an upgrade.
But yeah, I think that's a good signing. But I feel like Barcelona is like the guy who owns, he's always late on the rent at the end of the month, but you see him on their Snapchat and they're out like in the club popping bottles.
Yeah.
And stuff. Like, you're like, what the hell? You owe me money. But it's going to be very interesting to see, especially what happens with Ronaldo. I mean, there's, like we just went over, like there's not enough. It doesn't seem like there's enough clubs that are actually good candidates for him right now. Do you see it being more and more of a possibility of him staying at United?
I do. I think he stays, and Ten Hag wants to have him. I guess they've talked about plans together, and Ten Hag has came out and said when you have a player like Cristiano Ronaldo, like you don't change the player, you change your tactics for a player like him. And I think it will be okay. Looking at the preseason games, Tony Marshall has looked really good. He's full of confidence. He's got 3 goals in 3 games, and to start, he might be the starting number 9, and he might hopefully rejuvenate his Manchester United career, because he's always had that potential. 2 seasons ago, he had 26 goals.
Yeah.
So it'll be a good competition, and then we need to bring in another striker regardless if Ronaldo stays or not, because he's got 1 year left on his contract, and then maybe the club doesn't pick up the option for the 3rd year. So,
out of all those young attacking players, which, like Rashford, Martial, Sancho, out of all of them, who do you see benefiting more from the signing of Ten Hag? Who do you think can develop under Ten Hag a lot more?
Yeah, that's tough because they've looked really well together. Those front 3. Sancho, he looks like he's already at a different level than he was last year. And Rashford, he looks rejuvenated. He looks refreshed. And this is Rashford's first full preseason since he became a member of the first team. He's always had international duty, and he's always shown up late. And he said this summer that joining the team and having a full preseason has really re-engaged him to be his full potential. He still has some confidence that he needs to build on. Sancho looks like he's ready to go, and Marshall, his movement in the box, he looks really good. I think that front three, if they could each get 20 goals this season under Ten Hag, which is very possible,
Yeah.
I think we're gonna have a really deadly front three.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Do you already have any predictions of will their finish at the end of the season? I know we've only had, was it like 3 or 4 preseason games, which they've
preseason.
performed well. I mean, they've won, was it 4-1, 3-1, and then they got another one coming up this weekend. Do you want to go ahead and make a prediction of where they'll finish in the table?
Yeah, so it's going to be tough. I think, obviously, City signing Haaland, they could be 1 or 2. Manchester City. I think you could argue Liverpool could be 1, 2, or 3. Arsenal has made a ton of signings, really good signings too. So I think Arsenal might crack the top 4 this year.
Really?
Tottenham has made a lot of signings as well, and then Chelsea. They've made signings. So the top 4, you could honestly put 6 or 7 teams in the top 4, and nobody could be wrong. We finished outside top 4 last year, and it was very underwhelming. We underperformed. I'm gonna go ahead and say that we cracked the top 4. We'll be 3rd or 4th. Hopefully, I'm hoping, crossing my fingers. We're not title contenders yet, but I think we're top 4. I think we're top 4.
I think we're right on the cusp of being top 4. I mean, we might break top 4, but it looks like maybe like you said, Tottenham and Arsenal might edge us out a little bit. Maybe because we've had their managers already established there. They've already had another transfer window ahead of United. I feel like it's going to take 2 more transfer windows until Ten Hag has the actual squad that he wants and where they're performing at the top level. And then to break the top 4 in England is always tough. Drew, do you want to make a prediction and see where Chelsea would finish?
4th. I'm sticking with what I told you. It was like 3 weeks ago.
Something like that.
Got City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, United, Tottenham.
I don't trust Arteta at all. I don't think he's the guy. They bottled it last year. They were in the top 4 last year, and they bottled it. They made good signings. Gabriel Jesus is a good player, and I think they're still gonna get a couple more guys in. But I just don't think Arteta, as a manager, he's a fraud. To me, he is a fraud. I don't trust Arteta at all. I think Ten Hag is going to get these players. Remember, 2 seasons ago we finished 2nd. It's not that we have a bad team. We just didn't have a manager. Well, Ole was not experienced enough. Even though he's a club legend. Yeah.
He was the fraud, right?
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean,
I think Ollie was just like day in, day out, was just like, how am I still here? Like, how am I still at this
He was
job?
a bona fide babysitter.
Yeah, I've watched all 3 preseason games. I've been waking up. I mean, they're in Australia, right? And I've been waking up at 3 a.m. to watch the games.
Did you celebrate the cup win?
I did. Champagne and confetti all over my house. So, no, but it's nice to have a manager on the touchline coaching. It's something we have not had for many years. So, and the way that these guys are playing, and it's nice. It's very positive for sure.
Right. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see and how it impacts the players individually. And I feel like a lot of those guys need career-saving moves. And I feel like that's what we're going to get here. It's just a shame that we're losing players like Pogba and Lindelof on a free, or not Lindelof, Lingard on a free, because it's kind of interesting to see where this project's going to head. And like you said, we finally, in like the past 2-3 seasons, we finally have a coach who actually knows how to coach and actually how to put a team together. So it's going to be interesting to see. But thanks, Nick, for being on, man. We appreciate it. Your endless knowledge of Manchester United.
Yeah.
We'll definitely have you back on, man, especially with with the World Cup coming up, and this next season starting off early. I mean, we're only like 3 weeks away from the season starting.
2 weeks away.
Yeah, 2 weeks away. Yeah, 2 weeks
2
away.
weeks tomorrow.
So it's going to be fun and interesting. Is there anything else that you wanted to add, Drew, or you want to ask Nick before we let him go?
No, I don't think so.
Put you on the spot, huh? And then you just blanked out.
I know. I just listen to you guys talk about United the whole time.
Anything else you wanted to add, Nick, before we get off?
Nah, just 21 is coming.
It's gonna be fun, man.
Yeah.
But thank you guys, everybody listening at home or watching us at home. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you guys all in the next video. Thanks, everybody. Bye.